Hey, everybody. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new here. Today's topic is fuck your past. That's right. Let it go. We're going to hold a funeral for our old selves and we're going to rebirth into the person we know we are becoming. That can be hard to do. I know it can be hard to do. I've had to do it multiple times because we are evolving and changing at such a rapid pace that if we don't really cut ties with those past versions of us, we carry that into our future and into our efforts to create the future that we want. And it can cripple our efforts because we develop our responses, we develop our perceptions, we develop our beliefs and our habits out of those past versions. And if that past version screams of guilt, shame, failure, rejection, we're trying to progress into the highest version of ourselves with all of these things dragging us down, all of these weights that are holding us back and shaping our responses. So instead of looking at something as a challenge, we back down because what pops up in our mind is a past failure, a past regret. You know what? It's over. That's over. It's done. You don't need those anymore. That situation was resolved. Thank that past version of you who went through it, who experienced it, who learned from it and survived it, and then release it. That's not you now. That person died. That person's in the grave. They no longer exist because you've evolved beyond that. Don't carry that person's baggage into the future where the next version of you is waiting for you to catch up. And what we do is we let all of these past experiences shape our ability to move forward into becoming what we really envision for ourselves, for what we envision for our lives, what we desire to create in our reality is not coming to fruition because of the doubts and fears and things that we hold from our past. That's why I'm encouraging you to hold a funeral ceremony for the old versions of you that keep throwing their guilt, their shame, their regrets in your face. It's not helping, and you can't change it. The part of the book that was your past has already been published. You've passed the editing process. There's no changing it now. You cannot go back and change it. You can go back and relive it and traumatize yourself over and over and over and keep it in your mind that this happened and oh my God, it's so horrible. And for example, okay, so I was talking to another friend and I'm kind of like the casual counselor. I just bring things up in conversation when they bring a problem to me. So I have a lot of these conversations. And she's felt so much guilt over having her dog put to sleep. Mind you, this dog was 16 years old. He had lived a very good life. And she was like, I feel like I killed my dog. I was like, girl, life killed your dog. It kills all of us. I mean, that's the only definite we have from birth is death. It's going to get us all. It's just part of it. And hey, I was like, if anything, you made sure that he lived the best life possible. She doted on that dog. He was spoiled rotten and he was adorable. I mean, I get being brokenhearted over his loss and not having his companionship. However, feeling guilty, and this is what I told her. I said, "Oh, absolutely. I understand. You feel guilty because you made sure he lived an amazing life. And then, out of compassion and concern for his best interests, you helped him transition without pain or trauma. You asshole." And she started laughing. And she was like, I guess I didn't look at it that way. And I'm like, well, maybe you should. Because what you did was an act of love. It was your final act of love for the pet that you adored, who had given you so much of himself and you had given him so much of yourself. And although he had to transition, you at least had the compassion to make it as painless for him as possible. I mean, the things that we beat ourselves up over can be absolutely ridiculous when you look at it from another perspective. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why, in obviously, we don't have the wisdom in our 20s that we hopefully have developed by our 40s. We do dumb shit our whole lives, just in different ways. And as we do dumb shit, we learn lessons and we do better stuff moving forward, which is why we're constantly changing. And that old version of us that wrote that chapter of the book that we really wish hadn't been published, we can't change the book. It's there. It happened. No editing. Can't take it back now. What we can do is acknowledge that, well, I appreciate that version of me because she lived through that bullshit. And that version of me made the choices that she lived through. But this version of me gets to benefit from that and know that I'm not going to make those choices anymore. So I can at least feel secure in myself knowing that I learned that lesson and lay her to rest. Quit tormenting yourself with that version of you that made poor choices because you're not that person anymore. Have the funeral, close the chapter, quit bringing it up. Every time we relive those moments in our mind, we relive the trauma as if it were happening to us right now. Our minds cannot tell the difference between what's happening in the present moment and intense feelings that we have from a memory, from recalling a situation that was embarrassing, that was shameful, that was regretful, something hurtful. We relive that. Our brain releases the same chemicals as if it was happening right now in the present moment. And we traumatize our body by reliving it over and over. And you cannot change it. No matter how many times you relive it, you cannot change it. You're just tormenting yourself. Put the book in the grave with that version of you and let it be. Sing "Go Rest High on That Mountain and Let It Go." Um, I talk about, releasing ceremonies in the Get Your Shit Together book, and it's something that can be very powerful, and I just give a few different examples of options that you can use to do a releasing. There are so many. I personally like the burning method, where if it's something that just keeps coming back, keeps coming back, keeps coming back, write it out. Write it out on paper and then burn it. Burn that shit. Give it a Viking burial. Send it out to sea on fire. Let it go. Watch the smoke rise up into the sky. You're releasing that to the universe, higher power, whatever. Like, it's not mine anymore. I am not dragging this with me anymore. I release myself from whatever shame, guilt, regret, whatever is tied to that situation. Let it go. Don't carry that with you. It's an anchor to your progress. Let those past versions of you lie in the cemetery of bad decisions and lessons learned. Remember, regrets are just lessons learned. So, today, think of those things. Anything that you still carry with you that is just a ghost of the past that's haunting you and preventing you from moving forward into the future you desire. What is it that pops up when you want to step out and try something new? It can even be something so small as wanting to try a new style, but you remember back in elementary school when they laughed at you for wearing a shirt you liked. Anything, anything that's going to stop you from moving forward. Get it out, purge it, release it, let it go, bury it, whatever works for you. Google release ceremonies. Everybody has their own way that's most effective for them, but get rid of it. It's done. Let it go. Free yourself to move on into the person you know is waiting to unfold, that you know is inside you, and that if you weren't just running into these obstacles from the past, that you would move forward. Let that go. Okay? Full speed ahead. Fuck your past. It's already done. So I hope this helps. Have a fabulous day. And remember, you are a person in progress. Don't slow your progress with the things of the past. That's what got you where you are now. That's how you grew to this point. Drop the anchors. Full speed ahead. I hope this helps, and I will talk to you soon.